Abandoned and pregnant, 18 years later, her daughter discovered an incredible fortune. Emma stood behind the counter of the Twilight Diner, her hands stained with grease and flour as the clock ticked close to midnight. Each flicker of the neon sign outside bathed her tired face in a weary glow. The diner was practically her second home, a place where she chased a paycheck and whispered prayers that it would stretch just a little further. Raising Lily alone since she was 16 had never been easy. The lonely nights spent in silence haunted her, the shadows of abandonment lurking beneath her tough exterior. But love and sacrifice permeated every decision she made. As Emma filled another cup of coffee, Emma's heart swelled with pride for her spirited daughter, Lily. Bursting with dreams and aspirations, she had just turned 18, and Emma could see the glimmers of a bright future. Yet, in every glowing smile from Lily, there lay a flicker of fear, one that mirrored Emma's own. They shared a bond stitched together through struggles, resilience, and hope. One rainy evening, after Emma had tucked Lily into bed, the girl stumbled upon a dusty box while cleaning the attic. The old cardboard felt rough beneath Lily's fingertips as she pried it open, revealing a hidden letter from a grandmother she had never known. "This could change everything," she whispered, clutching the parchment like a lifeline. It told of a hidden fortune, a promise of wealth that could pull them from this cycle of hardship. Excitement bubbled within her, but nerves gnawed at her gut. As news spread through their small town, Lily felt both the thrill of hope and the weight of scrutiny. She was still the poor girl in everyone's eyes. Classmates with cozy homes and silver spoons took to social media, their harsh jabs echoing through the halls, telling her she was chasing fairy tales. "Just a scam," they said. "No way she's related to someone wealthy." But this time, Lily felt armed with the truth. For days, she tried reaching out to her grandmother, seeking guidance and clarity. Yet every call was met with silence, the riddle unraveling with each unanswered ring. Frustration grew, but tension thickened, especially with Emma. They had always been a team, yet now secrets from the past hovered in the air, cracking open the foundation of their shared lives, putting Emma's sacrifices under the spotlight. "Why can't you just support me?" Lily shouted one evening, the words cutting through years of unspoken fears. Emma's face tightened, the weight of abandonment crashing down on her once more. What if Lily resented her for never chasing the promise of their family? Underneath the heated words, both mother and daughter clung to their fears, Lily of always living in Emma's shadow, and Emma of being alone again. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the air thickened, the light dimmed over their kitchen table, Emma's resolve splintered. "I've given up so much for you. Can't you see that?" Lily's eyes glistened, reflecting a blend of hurt and defiance. In that fragile moment of honesty, both were stripped of their armor, illuminated by vulnerability they had never dared to share. Could the desire for a better future bind them together, or was the shadow of their past too dark to move forward? In the silence that followed, questions hung like thick fog, muddying the road ahead as entrees of uncertainty twisted through their hearts. As the days rolled into weeks, the tension in the small house echoed louder than the coffee-maker's hum. Emma and Lily shared meals in silence, glances exchanged only occasionally, each probing look weighted with unspoken questions. Emma watched Lily increasingly consumed by her quest. The girl was a steadfast whirlwind, searching for clues, unraveling the family tree, determined to connect with the grandmother she had never met. The drive pulsated in her actions, but Emma felt a pang of unease growing in the pit of her stomach. "Lily, can we talk?" Emma finally ventured one evening as they stood by the front door, the autumn chill seeping through the cracks. The light from the street lamp cast a soft glow on Lily's puzzled face. Lily crossed her arms, still wrapped in her world of expectations. "What's the point, Mom, if you just want to lecture me about this again?" "No lectures, I promise. Just let me explain why I've been hesitant. I don't want you to get hurt." "What are you afraid of?" Lily asked, her voice a blend of frustration and curiosity. "It's complicated," Emma sighed, her hands trembling slightly. "This fortune could change everything, but what if it doesn't? What if it just leads to heartbreak?" Lily shifted uneasily, considering Emma's words. "Maybe you've lost hope, but I haven't." "I can't afford to," Lily replied, her voice cracking slightly. "I think this is my chance, for us." "Then let me be part of that journey. I want to support you, truly," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. "But we need to do this together. No secrets." As the words hung in the air, a small seed of understanding began to root between them. Days later, Lily finally received a reply to one of her messages, an email filled with possibilities. Her heart raced as she read through the details about her grandmother's estate, the hidden treasure marked confidently in clear black ink. It was more than just money. It was a legacy she never knew existed. Emma found Lily seated on the couch, a stark yellow legal envelope clutched tightly in her hands. "Mom, she wrote back. We need to go meet her. This could be it." Emma's heart echoed with hope and dread simultaneously. "Are you ready for this?" Lily didn't hesitate. "I need to know who I am, who we are. We deserve to find out where we come from." They stared at each other, and in that moment an unsteady resolve filled the room like a gentle breeze. "Okay, we'll go," Emma agreed. "Together." As they planned that trip, another cloud of concern hung in Emma's mind. The nearer the journey drew, the louder her fears echoed. What if they weren't welcomed? What if it only resulted in more pain? That night, as they packed, Emma's phone buzzed with a sudden message, a familiar name, someone from her past that she thought she had left behind, someone connected to it all. With a trembling hand she opened it, her breath hitching as she read. "Emma, we need to talk. There are things you don't know about Lily's family." Fear spiraled in her gut. What else could be hidden? With every piece of this unfolding puzzle, the stakes grew higher, and the shadows of the past lurked ever closer. Could they confront these truths head-on, or would the ghosts of their pasts pull them apart just as they were beginning to mend? The uncharted waters loomed ahead, and both mother and daughter stood on the brink of a new beginning, if only they could hold steady in the storms around them. As dawn broke the next day, a soft glow filled the kitchen, but the light couldn't chase away the uncertainty that hovered over Emma. She sat at the table with a cup of coffee, staring into the murky depths as if the dark liquid might reveal answers. She still held Lily's phone message close to her thoughts. The words echoed in her mind. "What else don't I know?" Lily bounded into the kitchen, unabashed enthusiasm shining in her eyes. "I can't wait to see her. Can you imagine? I mean, this could change everything, Mom." She was practically vibrating with energy, every syllable instilled with excitement. Emma managed a small smile, but it didn't reach her heart. "I know, honey, but we need to go into this prepared. We don't know what will happen once we get there." "Prepared? Like scared?" Lily asked, her brow furrowing. "You can't be scared. This is a chance to finally meet family." Emma felt the familiar ache in her chest. "Lily, it's not about fear. It's about protecting you. What if she doesn't want to meet us, or worse? What if there are more twists to our family history than you bargained for?" Lily leaned closer, her expression softening. "You're scared for me because you love me," she said, reaching across the table to squeeze Emma's hand. "But I love you too, and I need you with me. If we face this together, we can handle anything." Emma took a deep breath, her eyes shimmering. Maybe Lily was right. A partnership was what they needed. "All right, I'm in this with you. Together." Later that morning, as they packed their bags, everything felt surreal. It was just a trip, yet it was more. A quest for identity, a leap of faith. Lily meticulously checked her notes, flipping through family trees and scribbled notations. She was so focused it was as if she had one goal in mind, a prize just out of reach. Emma gathered personal effects, and each item felt heavier with significance. Then the moment came. They loaded into the car, their hearts beating almost in rhythm. Time seemed to stretch, yet the drive flew by in a blur of trees and highways. Emma's mind raced, her thoughts tangled in the possibilities ahead. "What if we finally find answers?" Lily said, her voice breaking the silence, lighting up the dim car with her hope. Emma glanced over at her daughter, the way her hair caught the sunlight, creating an aura around her. "Or what if we find more questions?" she replied, her voice low. That familiar fear crept back, but she suppressed it. As they neared their destination, a tiny house set against a sprawling field, trees framing it like an old painting, nerves twisted in the pit of Emma's stomach. She parked, and they sat in silence for a moment, the engine humming softly. "Are you ready?" Lily asked, her eyes wide and hopeful, yet tinged with apprehension. Emma met her gaze. "I think I am." But even as the words came out, an element of doubt hung over her. They stepped out of the car, and Lily led the way up the creaky porch. Before they could knock, the door swung open to reveal a woman. Older, yet the twinkle in her eyes was clear. Those eyes, so familiar, yet so distant. Emma felt a name rise to her lips, a name she hadn't spoken in years. Lily blinked at her mother, a question forming, but Emma nodded quietly, an understanding passing between them. But a sudden chill swept through the air as the woman's smile faltered. "What are you doing here?" Emma's heart raced, emotions stirring like a storm in her chest. As silence filled the porch, she prepared for the answers that could shatter or heal everything she had concealed for years. What was left to uncover? "Mom, is this our family?" Lily whispered, glancing from the woman back to Emma. They stood on the brink of revelation, edged with uncertainty, unsure if they would be embraced or rejected. Would they finally find a belonging in this tangled history, or was it all just another dead end? The woman's eyes shifted between Emma and Lily, uncertainty flashing across her face. "I wasn't expecting anyone," she replied, her voice tentative. Emma felt a knot tighten in her throat. The moment felt frozen, the world around them fading into a background hum. She wanted to speak, to explain, but the words felt trapped, swirling like leaves caught in a wild wind. Lily took a small step forward, emboldened by trust in her mom and the gravity of the moment. "We're here because we think you might be family. My mom has some things she needs to say," she said, her voice steady yet hopeful. With a faltering breath, Emma let go of a lifetime of fear. "My name is Emma," she said, the name feeling strange and heavy, yet tinged with relief. "I'm your daughter. I think I'm your daughter." The woman's eyes widened, and there was a flicker of recognition, a flash of emotion that quickly masked over into uncertainty. "I don't understand. What do you mean? Who told you?" Emma's heart raced. "We found your name, and I think there's so much you don't know. About me, about Lily, about everything." Silence wrapped around them, thick and suffocating. The woman took a tentative step back, almost as if the air had become charged with secrets too heavy to bear. Then, with a weary sigh, she leaned against the doorframe. "This is not how I expected to spend my morning," she mumbled to herself, glancing away for a brief moment. Emma felt her resolve strengthening. She turned to Lily, whose eyes shone with determination. "We came all this way for answers," Emma said, her voice gaining strength. "Not just for us, but for you, too." The woman looked between them, as if weighing their words against everything she had hidden away. "I can't," she began, shaking her head, but Emma could see the cracks in her armor. In that moment, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves nearby, bringing a whisper of possibility that hung in the air. Emma took a small step closer. "Please," she implored gently, "whatever you're holding on to, it doesn't have to be alone anymore. We want to know you. We want to understand." There was a fleeting silence, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The woman's eyes softened, a hint of vulnerability breaking through. "You don't know the half of it," she finally said, her voice barely a murmur. "What do you mean?" Lily pressed, stepping beside Emma, their strength a united front. The woman sighed heavily, leaning her head back against the door. "There's so much I've kept hidden, secrets that could change everything." Emma felt fear and thrill intertwine in her stomach. They had arrived, but certainty was still tethered to the unknown. "What kind of secrets?" Emma asked, heart pounding. The woman's gaze fell to the ground, as if she was tracing a path through painful memories. "I didn't just leave," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I was forced to." Lily reached for Emma's hand, and they squeezed tightly, needing the connection to hold them steady. "Please," Emma urged, voice cracking. "Whatever it is, we're here to listen. Just let us in." As those words echoed, the woman finally looked up, and for a split second, Emma caught a glimmer of hope mingled with fear, a hope that they could be more than strangers linked by blood. But just as the woman opened her mouth to speak, a distant noise interrupted, cutting through their moment like glass shattering. The sound of tires on gravel echoed closer, and unease flickered in the woman's expression. "Who's that?" she asked sharply, eyes darting towards the driveway. Emma's heart sank. "I don't know," she replied, anxiety rising, "but it could change everything." "Stay behind me," the woman insisted, her voice firm, finally stepping aside to reveal the room behind her. The door hung open, inviting yet daunting. Emma and Lily exchanged a look, the urgency in the air ringing clearly. What waited outside? Would they find the answers they sought, or was it the beginning of a darker revelation? Together they took a cautious step forward, hearts racing, as they prepared for whatever was about to unfold. Who was coming, and would it unravel the threads of their fragile reunion? The woman's hand shot up to cover her mouth, as if both words and air had fled. Emma felt a chill creep down her spine. The weight of the moment pressed heavily on her chest, each passing second transforming the discomfort into a cement block. "Who is it?" whispered Lily, her small frame tucked close to Emma, the fear palpable between them. Before the woman could answer, the sound of gravel crunching beneath tires filled the air. It was accompanied by a low hiss of air brakes. Emma's heart hammered in her chest. Every instinct told her to retreat. Yet this was a moment they had anticipated for years, a convergence teetering on the edge of revelation. The woman's expression shifted, panic colliding with something deeper. Was it fear or a longing? Emma couldn't tell. "You need to go," she said, her voice low, almost urgent. "You don't understand what's at stake." "But we came all this way," Emma protested, a sense of defiance bubbling within her. "You can't just push us away. We deserve answers." "Emma," the woman started, but her words faltered as she turned toward the noise outside. Lily looked between them, sensing the tension. "What do you mean, what's at stake?" she asked sharply. Her young voice carried the kind of conviction that could bridge the ocean of pain separating them from the truth. Just then, the sound of footsteps crunched on the gravel, heavy and deliberate. The woman stiffened. I can't let them find you." "Please," she begged, her earlier resolve unraveling. "You have to leave." "What do you mean, them?" Emma shot back, confusion washing over her. Waves of desperation to understand clashed against dread. The door creaked open, and a tall figure stepped forward, silhouetted against the morning light. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The newcomer was familiar yet unsettling, their features masked in shadows, but it was an unmistakable kind of familiarity. "Mom?" The words slipped out of Emma's mouth before she had a chance to think. The figure paused, her posture shifting ever so slightly, recognition sparking in her eyes. "Emma? Is that really you?" The voice wavered, a mixture of fear and hope, threading its way through the air like a thin strand of silk. The woman beside Emma stepped back, retreating further into the house. "No, this is not what you think," she warned, but the words hung in the silence like a fruit in waiting, ripe for a moment of reckoning. "Who are you?" Lily voiced, her tiny fingers squeezing Emma's hand. The stranger's presence cast a thick shadow over the fragile moment they had tried to summon together. "I'm your aunt," the newcomer said cautiously, her voice trembling as she shifted from foot to foot. "Your mother needs to know the truth, Emma, the truth of what really happened." Emma felt a tidal wave of emotions crashing over her, excitement mingled with dread. What truth? The woman standing at the door remained silent, her eyes flicking back and forth between them, as if she were a puppeteer tangled in a web of her own making. And in that moment Emma understood. Everything hinged upon what would be unveiled. The answers they sought were wrapped in layers of fear and betrayal, tightly bound by years of silence. "Please," Emma urged, her heart pounding. "We didn't come this far just to be turned away again. Whatever it is, we can handle it together." The air grew thick with tension, each heartbeat magnifying the silence around them. The woman took a step forward, then hesitated. "You don't know what you're asking for." But the moment was poised on the precipice of something greater than fear. It was yearning for connection, for answers obscured by the shadows of the past. The aunt's voice broke through the silence, steady and echoing with the weight of the years. "You deserve to know everything." As she stepped into the light, Emma felt the ground shift beneath her, realizing that this encounter could unravel not only her own fate, but that of everyone she held dear. The door stood ajar, and just beyond it lay the unknown, a chasm of truth waiting to be crossed. Would they plunge into the depths, or would fear hold them hostage yet again? Emma's heart raced as the words her aunt had just spoken hung in the air. Everything? What was everything? The question spiraled in her mind, racing faster than her pulse. The familiar yet distant figure of her mother stood before her, and she felt the weight of her gaze like a heavy cloak pressing down on her. She desperately wanted to reach out, to close the gap, but uncertainty tethered her feet to the floor. Lily's grip tightened around Emma's hand, the comfort of the connection grounding her in this whirlwind of emotion. "What truth? Please, just tell us," Lily urged, her voice small but resolute. Emma glanced at her sister, the innocence in her eyes urging the adults to bridge this chasm of time and understanding. "Your mother, there's so much she hasn't told you," the aunt began, taking a cautious step forward. "It's not just about the past, it's about your future, too." Emma could see the hesitation etched on her mother's features. "I never wanted you to know any of this," her mother said, her voice breaking slightly. "It was meant to protect you." "Protect us from what?" Emma demanded, the words bitter on her tongue. "What could be worse than this mystery? We've spent our entire lives wondering, waiting." The tension in the air intensified as Emma's mother softly shook her head, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "It's dangerous," she whispered. "Dangerous?" Emma echoed in disbelief. "We're already standing in a storm, Mom, and what do you think hiding will accomplish? We deserve answers." The aunt stepped closer, urgency in her voice. "Emma, listen. There are people, very dangerous people, who don't want this truth to come out. They've been searching for your mother. They think she knows where—" She hesitated, glancing at Emma's mother, who looked on edge. "Where something valuable is hidden." Emma felt the world tilt. "Valuable? What could possibly be worth all of this? What are you talking about?" A loud crash interrupted the moment. A distant splash of glass echoed somewhere deep in the house, snapping them back to reality. The aunt's eyes widened, fear overriding everything else. "We need to go, now." Emma felt herself torn, her heart clinging to the need for answers, but her body preparing for flight. She could see it in Emma's eyes, a flicker of panic mixed with resignation. It was clear that whatever the truth was, it was about to collide violently with their lives. "Emma, please," her mother urged, her voice trembling with an emotion Emma hardly recognized. "You must trust me. You must trust us." Just as Emma opened her mouth to respond, footsteps echoed louder outside the door, heavy, purposeful, headed their way. The aunt shot glances toward the door, the lines of urgency etched deeper into her expression. "Go, now," she insisted, her tone unwavering, decisive. In that instant, Emma felt the shift, the pull of gravity toward the unknown, the chance to unravel their past, the urgency of the future closing in. They couldn't stay here, not when everything they had known was about to be shattered. "Together," Emma whispered, to Lily, a silent vow. They wouldn't turn away from the truth, even if it came wrapped in danger. As they turned to flee, a hand gripped Emma's arm. Her mother's pleading gaze locked onto hers. "I swear, I'll explain everything when it's safe. Don't stop believing in me." With a surge of determination, Emma pulled away, taking Lily by the hand, running toward the door. The world outside seemed alive with potential, filled with the unknown, and Emma knew there was no turning back from this moment. But what awaited them beyond that door? Would they truly find the answers they sought, or would the truth plunge them deeper into peril? A single lantern hung from the ceiling, its light flickering. Emma and Lily stepped inside, their wary gazes scanning the room. Old furniture sat in disarray alongside boxes strewn across the floor, full of forgotten memories and neglected stories. Their breaths finally slowed as they settled on a dilapidated couch. Emma felt the exhaustion of the night seep into her muscles, but her mind remained alert. "What do you think she meant?" Lily's question lingered, a painful echo in the silence between them. "About everything." Emma rubbed her temples, trying to drown out the noise of her own thoughts. "I have no idea, but whatever it is, it has to be huge." A silence fell over them both, as both girls grappled with the weight of uncertainty. This didn't feel like the escape they wanted. It felt like a new beginning, one layered with peril and secrets. Just then, a rustling outside jolted them from their thoughts. Emma's heart skipped as she exchanged a glance with Lily. They both knew the truth lay somewhere in the night, just beyond their reach, and danger was closing in fast. "Hide," Emma whispered, pressing a finger to her lips, urgency in her eyes. They crouched low behind the couch, hearts pounding in sync. Who was out there? Were they friends, foes, or something altogether darker? As the door creaked open, the figures silhouetted in the doorway seemed familiar, their presence both unsettling and hopeful. And while Emma's heart raced with an impending feeling, she couldn't shake the thought, was the truth worth what lay ahead? Before she could catch her breath, the figure stepped inside, and Emma's world shifted once more. "Emma? Lily?" the person said, voice steady but edged with tension. "It's time to talk." "Mom?" Emma gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. She blinked, disbelief flooding her senses as the familiar face stepped into the cabin's dim light. It was undisputably her mother, the woman whose absence had haunted them for years. A haunting blend of joy and confusion flickered across Lily's face as the tension in the room shifted. Emma stood frozen, torn between racing emotions. "Emma, Lily, we don't have much time," their mother urged, her eyes darting nervously toward the door. "They're coming for you. I need you to trust me." "Trust you?" Emma's voice came out sharper than she intended. "You left us. You chose to leave. How can we trust you now?" Lily's grip on Emma's hand tightened, as if holding on to the past would anchor them in the present. "We thought you were gone forever," she added, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I know," their mother said, her own voice trembling, "and I'm so sorry. But what I went through, it was complex, more than you could ever understand." She paused, inhaling deeply. "But I can explain everything. You have to listen." Emma shook her head, each word a brick wall. "Not until you tell us why you came back now. You put us in danger, and we don't know what you've dragged us into."
"That's just it," her mother snapped, her voice rising in desperation. "You must leave this place. There are shadows from my past that won't stop until they find me, and you." "What do you mean?" Lily's voice wavered, her fears spilling over. "What past? Why is someone after you?" Before their mother could answer, another rustle rustled through the trees beyond. Emma's heart raced anew. The night air felt electric, charged with an impending confrontation. "Mom, we need to go," Emma urged, urgency coursing through her veins. "Whatever is happening out there, we can't stay." "No, you need to understand," her mother insisted, her expression growing somber. "When I left, I protected you both. I shut myself away because there were things I never wanted to pull you into, but someone discovered where the truth is at stake, and it involves all of us." "Enough with the riddles," Emma felt the heat rise in her chest. "Tell us the truth. What are we running from?" Their mother glanced toward the door, her brow furrowed, weighing the danger like an unwieldy burden. "You're not just daughters to me. You're part of a legacy, but it's dangerous. There's a fortune tied to us, to our family, and it's hidden." "A fortune?" Lily echoed incredulously. "Then why didn't you just tell us?" "Because," her voice cracked, "there are those who would kill to possess it. They'll do anything, even hunt your family, to get it back." An agonizing silence fell, the air pressed tight with unspoken thoughts. Emma swallowed hard, grappling with the enormity of the revelation. "Why should we believe anything you say?" she asked, her voice steadier now, but fueled with defiance. "Because time is running out," her mother shouted, her eyes ablaze with urgency. "And because I never stopped loving you both. I'm here to protect you, but you must let me in." The weight of emotions crashed down on Emma, clashing memories and feelings swirling. Could she really trust the woman who had vanished from their lives? Just then, the sound of footsteps grew closer, echoing ominously in the night. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Mom!" she exclaimed, panic transforming her question into a plea. "What do we do?" Her mother hesitated, her eyes darted toward the window. "We run, together." But as the shadows crept toward them, Emma wondered if there was truly a way out, or if they were stepping into a hell of their own making. The flickering lantern cast dancing shadows across their faces, illuminating the uncertainty that bound them. Could they trust her enough to follow into the unknown? As the door creaked wider, the darkness loomed, and Emma's heart raced with dread and a flicker of hope. "Whatever happens next, we face it as a family," her mother said, clutching Emma's hand. And just before the figures outside entered the cabin, Emma realized one thing. The truth wouldn't just change their lives, it could shatter everything they thought they knew.
Would they be ready for the truth when it came crashing in? The door burst open, revealing a towering figure surrounded by shadows. The cold night air rushed in, followed by the heavy footsteps that echoed in the small cabin. Emma's heart thudded in her chest as she instinctively stepped back, pulling Lily closer. "Get back!" their mother shouted, a sudden fierceness igniting in her. She pushed Emma and Lily to the side, positioning herself protectively in front of them, as if she could shield them from what lay outside. The breath that caught in Emma's throat filled with panic and loud uncertainty. "Who are you?" the intruder growled, his voice a low rumble that sent chills racing down Emma's spine. He stepped into the cabin, the faint light revealing the hardened lines of his face. There were shadows of old scars, each one a story etched into skin. "Leave us alone!" Emma shouted, mustering courage she didn't feel. It caught the intruder off guard, his gaze narrowing, but it didn't deter him. Emma could see the glint of something metallic in his hands. "I'm not here for you, little girl," he said, dismissively, turning toward their mother. "You know what I want." A look passed between them, heavy with history and unspoken words, as if they were two players in a game that had long since begun, without Emma and Lily. "Stay away from my daughters," their mother commanded, her voice steady, despite the fear that hung thick in the air. "Or what?" the intruder smirked, the arrogance palpable. "You think you can protect them?" Emma's skin prickled with fear. "Mom, we can't stay here." "Shh!" Their mother hushed her. Her eyes darted to the back of the cabin, contemplating their escape route. "There's another way out. We have to move, now." "Think you can run?" The intruder laughed. "You know I'll find you. You'll never escape me." Emma shot a glance at Lily, whose wide eyes mirrored her own rising dread. In a heartbeat, they shifted from frozen statues to a frantic dance toward the back door their mother had pointed at. Emma barely registered the knots of fear and confusion tightening in her stomach. They had to trust their mother. "Go!" their mother shouted, pushing them both to the rear door. "I'll hold him off. Just go!" "No, we won't leave you," Emma cried, locking eyes with her mother. She felt a sudden urge to rush back. Instinctively, she knew this was just the beginning of their confrontation with a past they were only starting to understand. "Do it!" their mother growled fiercely, tension etched on her face. "You must survive." A sob bubbled in Emma's throat, choking her, but their mother's unwavering determination ignited something inside her. It was a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. Cracking the door open slightly, they slipped outside. The chill of the night greeted them, almost a cruel reminder of how defenseless they felt. "Which way?" Lily gasped, looking back only briefly as their mother's fierce voice faded behind them. "Find the woods! We can hide!" Emma said, grabbing Lily's hand. They dashed into the embrace of the trees, the darkness thick and impenetrable. They moved further until the cabin's light faded, swallowed by the shadows. Emma's heart raced. Would they really escape? The sounds of shouting erupted behind them, followed by the shattering of glass. Emma stumbled, a branch snagging her clothing, but she pressed on, dragging Lily with her. Every footfall echoed her fears, but she pushed those thoughts aside. They needed to find safety. They needed to understand the truth. "Emma!" Lily gasped, pulling her toward a thicket. "We can't keep running without a plan." They pressed against the rough bark of a tree, hearts pounding in sync. Emma remembered their mother's words, how they were a part of something greater. "We need to find the fortune," she mentioned. "Maybe it can help us," Emma suggested, her voice barely a whisper. Lily nodded, determination flaring behind her wide eyes. "Okay, but how do we figure out where to start?" Suddenly, a thought struck Emma like a bolt of lightning. The cabin. Mom mentioned a legacy. It must be there. "Do you think she'll be all right?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. "I have to believe she will be," Emma replied, fear clashing with hope. With renewed determination, they crept back in the direction of the cabin, every inch of their bodies on alert. What awaited them inside the walls of their childhood home? Would they find safety, or something darker? As they neared, Emma swallowed, steeling herself for the unknown, because the next move could change everything. As Emma and Lily approached the familiar cabin, their hearts raced with determination and fear. Darkness loomed around them like an old weight, memories and questions packed tightly as they prepared to step back into the storm from which they had just fled. "Stay close," Emma whispered, squeezing Lily's hand. They stepped cautiously onto the creaking porch, the faint light from within flickering like a trembling heartbeat. When they entered, the air felt heavy, laced with tension. Broken glass lay scattered across the floor, remnants of chaos left in the wake of their mother's confrontation. Panic surged through Emma as she thought of her mother. Was she safe? Where did she go? "We need to find the hidden things," she said, urgency spilling from her heart. "Where do we even look?" Lily's voice trembled, uncertainty flooding her eyes. Emma scanned the room. A mix of nostalgia and dread clouded her mind. "There must be something in the places she kept secret," she muttered while pushing aside the wreckage on the floor. A glimmer of hope sparked within her. "Let's check her bedroom. She might have left clues. It's where she kept everything important." Together they hurried down the narrow hallway, hearts pounding in rhythm, stepping lightly over fallen debris. They soon reached the door to their mother's room. Taking a deep breath, Emma opened it slowly, the hinges protesting as if resisting the reunion with old ghosts. Inside, it felt like time had stood still. The room was untouched by the chaos outside, but an eerie silence settled within the walls. Framed pictures of Emma and Lily were scattered across the dresser, smiling faces juxtaposed against the threat they now faced. On the wall hung a tapestry of memories, family gatherings, moments of laughter now long buried beneath years of absence. "Look," Emma said, spotting her mother's old journal lying half-hidden beneath a pile of clothes. She picked it up and flipped it open, frantic to glean truths that had been locked away for too long. The pages were filled with their mother's looping handwriting, poetic yet haunting. She turned the pages in search of clues, and her eyes fell upon a line that made her heart race. "There lies a legacy beneath the old oak, hidden from those who would harm." "What does it mean?" Lily looked over her shoulder, eyes wide with curiosity, tinged with fear. There's something buried under that old oak tree in the backyard. We have to go now." Emma's voice held a feverish excitement. They shared a quick glance, determination glimmering brightly amidst the uncertainty. Without wasting a moment longer, they sprinted out of the house. The chill of the night air filled their lungs, and the scent of earth and leaves clung to them as they raced to the backyard, hearts pounding with purpose. When they reached the old oak, its gnarled branches twisted high above them, dark against the seamless sky. "This must be it," Emma exclaimed. They began to dig, fingers clawing at the earth, urgency brewing like a storm inside their chests. With every handful of dirt they cast aside, hope thrummed louder in Emma's heart. They dug deeper and deeper until they finally struck something solid. "I think I found it," Emma shouted, her voice breaking through the tension. They unearthed a small wooden chest, its surface weathered and scratched, but deceptively unpretentious. Emma and Lily exchanged glances filled with anticipation and fear. Their entire past hinged on what lay inside. "Open it," Lily urged, her voice barely containing her excitement. With shaking hands, Emma pulled at the latch, and the chest creaked open. Inside, scattered papers, photographs, and glinting jewels sparkled under the moonlight. Emma's pulse quickened as she sifted through the items, a trove of family history. One photograph captured her imagination, her mother, young and vibrant, standing alongside another woman with a contented smile. "This is her sister, right? Your aunt. What's her name?" "Grace," Emma replied, her heart heavy with new understanding. As she examined the papers, a letter caught her eye. Unfolding it carefully, she read softly, "To my beloved daughters, should you ever seek the truth, know that family is not merely blood, but love nurtured in trust."